Hi everybody. Long time no see. I think I overdid this a little bit. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about wanted to continue the video about projective identification, and actually I have some other videos in my head that I want to create. After that, hopefully I'll be able to post at least 2 videos today. Now, I wanted to talk about projective identification further. So I left off on the issue of motivation. A lot of the times, if you have been in a narcissistic environment, your motivation has been taken away from you. Your agency has been taken away from you, and when you leave those narcissistic environments, you look for and you unconsciously seek out people that are going to put motives in your head, that are going to show you where to go in life, because it's very difficult for you to formulate your own motivations and execute them, because that has been beaten out of you, whether physically or psychologically. And people do not understand your this codependence. They don't understand why you're asking them to assign motives to your actions. Why are you leaning on them so much? It comes off as neediness on your part, because you expect people to rescue you, to basically show you where to go, because that's the sort of trauma bond like relationship that you've had with a narcissist, and that's what you equate with love. You equate love excuse me, and bonding with being shown what to do, being told what to think in a union. So if you're in a union with a person, you expect them to be on the same page with you at all times, and you think that they expect you to always be on the same page with them all the time, and you expect your lives to align perfectly, and only then can you start to begin to feel fulfilled or loved or sort of cared for in the relationship. And that's a very big problem, because anything less than that doesn't really feel like love to you, because you've been taught that love is a form of enslavement, essentially. Love is premised on the idea that you're completely interlocked in the will of another person, and if you're not completely interlocked in the will of another person, then you can't be attached to that person, or they don't care for you enough, or you don't care enough for them, and etc. This can be very difficult to overcome. But I think that a good step is to gain a sense of self-identification. And the good news about that for codependent adults is that this is possible to do on your own. You don't need anybody else telling you who you are or what you like. In fact, you have to avoid at all costs other people telling you what you like and what your goals are and what your aspirations are. You need to look out for people in your life that are supportive of your own goals and your own aspirations, and will not impose their will on you. And you have to learn how to bond with them, and it's very difficult. Like, you have to surround yourself with those sorts of people that will clap for you when you're doing things that are not directly related to what they do or say or think, that respect your autonomy and lift up your autonomy. So it's a very difficult road for codependent adults, because you're learning a different way of relating to people. And a lot of people give us a lot of flack for why is it that you're analyzing narcissism? Why is it that you're analyzing sociopathy so much? Why is it that you can't just focus on yourself? The answer to that is because if you don't focus on narcissism and sociopathy, you won't be able to identify the sorts of people that you need to avoid, that you're magnetically attracted to, that you are sexually attracted to, that you are emotionally attracted to, and you won't be able to throw them out of your life. And so never let somebody tell you that you think too much about sociopathy, because that comes from a place of incredible ignorance. They do not know what it means to be trauma bonded to a sociopath. They do not know what it means to lose your identity almost entirely to them. They don't see how people ruin their lives by staying attached to them. So they're coming from a place of complete and utter ignorance, and you don't have to listen to them, and you don't have the time for that. You need to find people that are compassionate, that are understanding, that are willing to enter a relationship with you, whether it be platonic or not platonic, or a romantic relationship, whatever shape or form it takes. You need people around you that are going to respect your boundaries. And you need to learn how to not cross other people's boundaries. That's another thing. You can't demand that people think like you, that people like the same things that you like. Because a lot of us have that tendency. We think that's love. We think love is getting other people on the same page as us, getting other people on the same wavelength as us, etc. A normal love relationship is based on bettering the individual self that you already have. And if you don't have an individual self to better, then you can't enter a normal relationship. It's impossible. It's completely impossible, because you're going to be asking the person to define you, because that's what you're used to doing, and that's absolutely wrong. You need to define yourself, and you need to know what your preferences are before you can find a partner, before you could find a friend, before you could find anybody, a boss, anything. Unless you want to keep entering narcissistic, sociopathic relationships where one person calls the shots and tells you who you are and what you like over and over and over again. That's no way to live. Okay, guys? So, know your motives at all times. Make a plan for the year, for the month, for a week, about what your priorities are, what your goals are, and stick to that. And that's one of the best ways to start getting out of codependent patterns of thought. Okay? That's how you're going to sift out within your social circles the people that are supportive of you and the people that are not supportive of you and want to exploit you. Okay? The minute that you start saying no to people, start saying, I have this plan for this day, and I'm sorry, we can't meet for lunch or we can't meet for dinner. And then you measure the person's reaction to that. And if they are insistent that you make the time for them, if they start guilt-tripping you and making you feel small for basically telling them, I'm sorry, I can't make today or the next day, then you need to throw these people out of your life. They're like roaches. They're trying to exploit you. They're trying to feed off of you. They're trying to bend your will. These are not people that love you or care for you, and they don't want to see your growth, your personal growth at all. So you need to get them out, okay? And all the people that are going to be like okay with you doing other things other than obsessing over them and worrying about them all the time. These are the people that need to be in your life. And it's a matter of life and death if you're watching this channel. Because you have been in relationships that have driven you to the point of depression and anxiety and just complete and total loss. And you don't deserve that. So if you want to repel these relationships in the future because you can't do anything about the past, if you want to repel these relationships in the future, it is very important that you know your motivations of why you wake up in the morning. What are your goals? Who are the people that you care about in the world? Who are the people that you could care less about? Who are the people that you're going to magnify in life? And who are the people that you couldn't care less about? And this is what needs to take precedent over analyzing narcissism, because that will only take you so far. That will allow you to understand your past patterns, which is very important. That will allow you to identify narcissists and sociopaths, which is a beautiful skill, because you don't want roaches in your life. You don't want parasitic people that are gonna try to steal your money and steal your self-worth and try to steal your friends away from you. You don't need that. But then there's the other side of the coin, which a lot of people unfortunately do not want to pursue, and that is their own self-improvement after these relationships. What is it about me that attracted these people? Even if you're a child of a narcissist, you still need to do the work. You still need to learn how to function in the world as a non-codependent if you ever want to be genuinely happy. I totally get the idea that people want to stay in a place where they blame the narcissist for their issues. They want to stay. A lot of people end up in that place because it's a very comfortable place to be. Essentially, like, they made your brain operate in a certain way, and they've made you fearful of your own autonomy. But it's really on the victim to understand why they got to that place. And it's really on the victim to assign motivations for themselves and take responsibility for when things go south in their life. And not to blame the past for it, because that will keep you in one place, which is not good. The next video that I'm going to talk, I'm going to continue the whole topic of how victims have a responsibility to themselves. Codependent victims. The long and short of it is, nobody can create your identity for you. Nobody can tell you who you are. And if you're asking people to do that, if you're coming from that place of asking people for help in creating an identity for yourself, you're essentially looking for more narcissism in your life. And you don't even know that you're doing it. You want people to give you all the answers, and that's not how things work in life. You have to come up with your own hypotheses and observe the results of your own thinking, and only then can you start to recover from this. That's the only way that you're ever going to make a full recovery from it. That's what a lot of these narcissism channels are missing. It's like, when do we start to take responsibilities for the patterns of thought that created this situation for us? Alright? Take care.